I want us to discuss this one thing that everybody has been talking about. Who brings more to the table? Is it the drivers or is it the taxi companies? That is Uber, Bolt, Litrocab, and others. By bringing something to the table, this is what I mean. We all know that drivers, they bring on the table the car. So the car belongs to the drivers. So either owned by the driver who is driving or by the partner. But one thing that we all know is that these cars, they do not belong to the taxi companies. They belong to the driver, just to simplify the conversation. Secondly, these cars are fueled by the driver. Drivers are the one who go to the petrol station and get those cars fueled at their own costs. Okay? These drivers, they also provide labor, meaning that they either drive those cars themselves or they hire a driver to drive on behalf and they pay them. Also, the drivers, they bring the risk, they bear the risk of all the things we have mentioned: the fuel, the car, the labor, all the risk that is associated with all those factors of production are borne by the driver. That means if anything goes wrong with the car, if anything goes wrong with the driver, or if the fuel is not good, and the general risk associated with the taxi driving, it is the responsibility of the driver and not the taxi company. So what do the taxi companies bring on the table? You ask yourself. I also ask myself, because we have seen already the driver is bringing 4 key components, and just to go through them very quickly, I have talked about the car, the fuel, the labor, and the risk. So what do these companies bring on the table? From my understanding and the research I have done, and also from my experience driving taxi part-time, the only thing that these companies bring on the table is the market. They bring the clients. They bring the customers. That is the only thing that these companies bring on the table. And one thing that I want us to analyze, among the 4 things that the driver is bringing on the table, and the one thing that these companies are bringing on the table, which one is more valuable? Which one has more value? What should be the share of revenue sharing given what is brought on the table by each of these partners? Because this is a revenue sharing business. As it stands right now, these taxi companies, they take home 25% of every money that is made from each trip. They are paid a commission of 25%. Drivers, they take the rest, 75%. And out of the 75, they will pay for all the things that we have discussed about. In your view, how should this revenue sharing be? And how important is this component of market? Because these taxi drivers, they will tell you that their counterparts who do not operate on digital platforms, those when they were kutega kwa stage, the biggest challenge that those guys go through is access to market. It is access to customers. Per day, they might only carry 1 or 2 people, and sometimes it is not guaranteed. They will stay there waiting for hours before they get someone to carry. But maybe when they carry 1 person, they make good revenue. But it is very, very difficult to do what we call matchmaking, to meet, to connect a person who wants a taxi to a taxi driver when they are not on the digital platform. So that is a very big challenge that the offline taxi drivers, they face. And that is why these digital apps, they came and tried to bridge that gap. But they never tried to add any other value. They said, we want to assume that all drivers in Kenya wako kwa stage, wako kwa mashimo, wanategea passengers kwa mashimo. They never came to bring a solution on how drivers should own cars, on how drivers should increase fuel efficiency and manage their labor best and reduce the risk. They never came to do that. They simply came to say, on this side, there are so many people who want taxi services. And on this other side, there are this number of drivers who want to be connected with the people who want taxi services. And that is what they came to do. And then they demanded a pay for it. And that is what we call the commission. But drivers feel that their contribution into this space is so much, okay, in terms of the money, the effort, and the input that they give in. But these taxi companies, they have already built the infrastructure that allows drivers to go pick customers, allows customers to order for the ride. This infrastructure has been built a decade ago. And what drivers are saying is that these taxi companies, they are not spending a lot of money to maintain that digital platform. And that is why drivers are saying, please, you taxi companies, can you take a smaller commission right now, because your business model has stabilized in a way. Okay? But true to the fact, drivers, we don't know how much it costs this taxi company to maintain the platform, to pay for the satellite that allows you to order a ride from here and there. We don't know how many external partners they pay monthly fees to maintain those platforms. So I am not in a position to say whether 25% commission is a lot or less. I am not in a position, because I don't know what it costs these companies to maintain those platforms. But on the side of the driver, I can say they have really invested a lot. But let us be clear, partnerships are not based on how much money the partner is spending, or how much time, or how much input, or the physical contribution you are giving. The revenue sharing in a business partnership is determined on so many things. You know, who is in the position of power, who is in a position that is more unique than the other. Okay? The fact is, if the Uber does not give drivers customers, where will drivers get customers from? Definitely there will be other apps that will come. If Uber and Bolt exit the market today, the one sure thing that will happen is that this Uber and Bolt, they will be replaced by similar companies. But there is no way that drivers on their own will be able to get customers on their own. It's very difficult for them to matchmake. You know, get a customer and you offer the car. You need a digital connection for the business to be as big as it is right now. If we remove the digital platforms, the taxi business in Kenya will completely collapse. There is no way that customers will be able to connect with drivers. And that is why these companies are in the position of power, and they will still remain to be the one determining the revenue sharing model until maybe drivers come up with their own digital application, whereby they determine their own fees, they determine their own commissions, and their own profit ambitions. Okay, because companies don't only take commission to pay for the fees to maintain their platforms. They also have their salaries, they have their directors, they have their investors that require returns at the end of every financial season. Okay, and that is what drivers must understand. Who is in a more privileged position in all this partnership? Who is offering a solution that is more unique, that if with drone you cannot get it from someone else? And this, I believe, these taxi companies are offering something that drivers cannot offer for themselves. Drivers cannot develop their own app. Drivers have not developed their own apps. It's either they continue using Bolt or someone else's app that will actually bring almost the same terms. Okay? So, and let us always agree that anyone who has the key to the market, the one who can give you access to customers, is the most important person in any partnership. And even corporates, companies will tell you they spend a lot of budget on marketing, on reaching out to customers so that customers can come for their services. And they will tell you that the marketing budget in most cases will exceed any operational budget in a company that is selling goods and services. So, drivers and everyone out there, the only solution out of this exploitation, okay, of this situation where you can't help yourself, the only way out is for drivers to develop their own application and set their own terms. And by so doing, they will be creating their way to reach the customers. They will create their access to the market, which is the only missing link. The drivers are providing all other factors of production, but they are not providing the market. I hope I have been able to teach you a thing or two. And by this is a goodbye. Stay tuned to this channel for more analysis like this one. Cheers and goodbye.